and I had spoken previously at the meeting of the parents at the gymnasium. I'm not going to rehash everything I said there, and I also want to lead off by saying I'm appreciative of having conversations with Dr. Strine, where we made some productive progress in terms of addressing the concerns of this community, and I also appreciate the board's willingness to pause on this initiative so that we can consider exactly what it is that we're implementing. So what I'd like to do tonight is just quickly springboard off of some of the other things that have been said. I first want to address what Ms. Naus, you referred to earlier, where you read a statement stating that the schools and education in general have always done equity. Well, that may be true, but not the kind of equity that these programs are pushing. And what I mean by that is that equity, as defined in almost any of these diversity inclusion initiatives, does not mean what you described. What it traditionally means, and I speak from professional experience as another lawyer, it's probably bad that two lawyers are speaking, and he dressed better than I did. But here's the point. Most of these programs define equity explicitly as outcomes which have to be equalized. And I said this in my comments earlier at the gym. Any attempt to equalize outcomes from people that have different backgrounds, talents, gifts, experiences, motivations is folly. And to attempt to do that within a school district curriculum is never going to work. What we need is equality of opportunity. And that doesn't mean that we don't assist people who have special challenges. So I understand what you intend for that term to mean. What I question is whether the curriculum that is being espoused here actually means that, and I will tell you that it does not. The second issue is, as has been addressed before, the idea of racial essentialism, which is what these programs promote, is a terrible concept. It is ideological in nature, and whether or not there are people in this room or people that are emailing in that have a perspective that think that's good and they're entitled to it, a school district does not have the positional or moral authority to tell my child or anyone else's child that the most important thing about them is their skin color. And in fact, and so I would ask this board to consider, there's a lot of terms that are thrown around, and you see these terms all the time with these kind of programs. I would ask the board, as you're weighing going forward whether we're going to implement something, do you even understand what these terms mean? For instance, cultural responsiveness, implicit bias, oppressive ideologies. Those things are spoken of at a level of generality, which sounds good, but at the ground level, what you'll find is that they have very particular meanings, and those meanings are overtly ideological and political, and frankly, there are many people in this room who simply do not agree with them. So what I would ask the board to do is consider, and by the way, I need to address what the previous speaker said, and I respect her opinion. This opposition does not stem from a lack of knowledge. It does not stem from fear. Those are the condescending viewpoints that people hear who stand up and have a very specific objection, and they don't stem from a desire not to be inclusive or not to be diverse. The biggest problem with this program is that as it is structured, it inherently promotes division. Why? Because it tells kids and people that they are to balkanize themselves into skin pigment tribes. That is the worst possible message for any student or frankly for any American. And so I would ask this board to consider as we go forward exactly what is being promoted when we use the terms diversity and inclusion, because it's not what you think. And ultimately, if we're really interested in diversity, we need diversity of intellect and thought. That means people need to be able to step forward and disagree with this without being accused and stigmatized of being against inclusion or for racism. That's simply not true. So, the final thing I would just ask for, you had referenced that there's going to be a workshop. I would ask that any training materials or workshop materials that are being made available to the board be provided on the website to the community so we can evaluate exactly what is being taught not only to the board, but to teachers who are on whatever task force is formed. I thank you for your time.